Mr. Chairman, and I thank our ranking member. And good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to our witnesses for being here to testify. I know it may not have been easy to navigate through D.C. in this weather and political uncertainty. I believe, as many of my colleagues on this committee do, that it is in our best interest to support the adoption of emerging technologies like AI in the manufacturing sector, and that we should make the critical hardware that power AI tools like chips at home right here in the United States. That is why, unlike many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, I was proud to support President Biden and Democrats in passing the CHIPS and Science Act, a $53 billion investment in bringing semiconductor supply chains back to the United States. All over the country, we have seen the benefits and successes of the CHIPS Act, not only supporting manufacturing and innovation at home, but also with the creation of over 115,000 jobs as of last summer. My home state of New York has been a leader in semiconductor manufacturing industry, and the benefits are showing. Thanks to CHIPS and Science Act, 34,000 New Yorkers are employed by semiconductor and supply chain companies. The importance of supporting the domestic manufacturing of AI tools is undeniable and essential to our workforce and economy. And that's why I remain committed to supporting the implementation and disbursement of CHIPS funding that uplifts the industry, national security, and our workforce. While I'm disappointed and I'm not surprised to see the chaos of the current administration giving way to an unstable business environment that undermines the progress that we have seen in the American semiconductor manufacturing, illegal freezes, tariff threats undermine the work Democrats have done to modernize critical domestic manufacturing sectors. Dr. Reynolds, can you speak to the steps Congress can take to support stability in the industry and further the progress we've already made?
Thank you, Congresswoman, for that question and for also underscoring the importance of the CHIPS Act and its impact already on the U.S. economy and U.S. competitiveness. I will mention as well that we now see that TSMC in Arizona is manufacturing 4 nanometer chips, frontier chips, out of Arizona for the first time in American history. And this is a very exciting time for building the semiconductor industry in the country and ensuring that we have global competitiveness going forward and are not at the mercy of foreign adversaries in other countries. In terms of how we take this work forward, I think first and foremost, as we've discussed, is we want to see the obligations that have been made already followed through and supported over time. So while perhaps these obligations have not been expended yet, we know that we have important taxpayer interests involved in the payment of these CHIPS Act grants, the importance of the tax incentives. We want to make sure that all of these important parts of the legislation passed in the last few years continue forward under the intention of Congress. I think also that we're seeing, as you said, an enormous amount of momentum already at the state level, whether that's in the CHIPS Act around the number of places around the country, whether that's in the clean energy space, whether that's in other areas of manufacturing. It's very important for the federal government to be a partner in ensuring that those investments continue and that those partnerships help us in building out those investments and those clusters of excellence. I think the importance of the U.S. strategy under this legislation was not just about a few projects here and there, but creating critical mass. And with that critical mass, we develop globally competitive industries. And our goal, of course, is to not only develop the expertise and provide the quality jobs, but to export and to become a world leader in many of these areas. And we are on that path. And through the creation of these new factories and facilities, using new technology that we've just discussed, we are now in a position to really be leaders in areas that we have not been and where we've been lagging in the past. So semiconductors, EVs, batteries, all of these areas where now the U.S. is really in a competitive position. We may have lost in many ways on the first generation of technology, invented the technology here, it went elsewhere. But now we're in a different position. Now we're in a place where the U.S. can actually compete and lead. And so that requires that we maintain these investments, that we support them on the ground, and that we build through a new generation for U.S. manufacturing.
Very well. Thank you so much for your response, and I thank all of our witnesses for bringing their expertise to the table. With that, I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. Now recognize Mr. James from the great state of Michigan. You're recognized for 5 minutes of questioning.